Hello, I'm Denny Michael with AVST. Welcome to this edition of Take 5. Hi everybody. Today we're going to be talking about the hybrid cloud and what it means for UC deployments. Now simply put, the hybrid cloud is a mix of on-premise and public cloud UC components. Many of our large customers are taking their multiple locations and centralizing them. And depending on the mission-critical nature and compliance and confidentiality concerns, some elements of their UC stack will remain on-premise, while some will be delivered in the public cloud. In fact, Gartner states that 75% of large enterprises will have some sort of hybrid cloud initiative by 2015. Now at AVST, we do this through interoperability, and we believe that the hybrid cloud is the future for the large enterprise. Therefore, it's important to invest in UC components that promote open standards and hybrid interoperability. Now today I'm happy to have on board Dave Michels, an industry analyst, to have his take on the hybrid cloud. Here we go. Hi Dave, and welcome to AVST's Take 5 today. Just so you know, I did a preamble right before we got to you on AVST's definition of the hybrid cloud. I'm curious to get this first question asked to you. What is the hybrid cloud?
What is the hybrid cloud? Let's see. That's something we could define today, and then maybe in about a week or so, might have to re-update that. Let's see. So to me, the cloud or the hybrid cloud is the best of both worlds. Organizations provide some of their components in the UC stack on premises and have other UC elements provided externally via the public cloud. There's a lot of advantages this way. You get the benefits of both worlds effectively. I sometimes use the old Reese's commercials. You got your peanut butter and my chocolate, and you created a whole new category. And I think there's a lot of opportunity to do this something similar with taking the cloud and taking premises and putting them together to one robust solution that is offering a lot of capability to an organization. If you think about the premises world, had a lot of feature functionality, but it was a bit complex. And the cloud world tends to be simpler and on demand. And so if we can combine these two together, we get a very rich solution that should meet a lot of needs.
Dave, from a business value point of view, what is the true business value of a hybrid cloud deployment?
So let's think about this objectively for a moment. We've got a lot of important information behind the corporate firewall. And we've got a lot of advantages in the cloud with elasticity and quick provisioning of applications. So if we can put that together, we've got some increased value for the corporation. Not to mention some legal issues, corporate governance issues. Sometimes it's around credit cards, PCA, sometimes it's around medical records, HIPAA. Sometimes it's just around common sense. It's lucrative, confidential, secretive information, such as customer databases or new kinds of research or things like that. And that might need to be more secure and on-premise and with a really strong deadbolt in front of that server. Another point I want to talk about is existing the UC topology, because a lot of corporations have significant investments in their equipment right now, and there's no reason to dispose of that just to get some of the benefits of the cloud. They could leverage their existing infrastructure and investments with the scalability and flexibility the cloud offers.
How do you see this impacting UC in general?
Well, hybrid solutions could actually deliver UC. I mean, if you think about UC, unified communications, it was all about bringing all the different communications into one solution. That's proven to be fairly elusive. Now, the reason it's been so elusive is because we keep adding new forms of communication. It started off with unified messaging, but then you throw in voicemail, email, SMS. Some people consider Facebook, some people consider Twitter business apps. You've got faxes. The list gets pretty long. And it gets complicated really quickly. And so I've got a couple of voicemail systems that send me my voicemails and my email, and I can't play them on my cell phone because my cell phone doesn't have the right codec. And yes, I can download it, but that's not the point. It's getting things complicated. And so the real advantage of hybrid is bringing together more interoperability and more options to create the right UC solution, getting things to work together seamlessly. Now, part of the hybrid story is just to leverage current investments. And so an organization has an investment in some component of their communications technology that's working fine. There's no reason to replace it with a cloud solution if it's already working. So we can instead supplement the premise-based solution with some cloud functionality or scalability or flexibility. Things are changing very quickly, and long-term commitments are becoming more risky. And that includes long-term cloud solutions and long-term equipment decisions. The answer really is to leverage as much as you have and extend what you have is typically going to be the most minimal risk.
Dave, in your experience visiting customers and manufacturers alike, what UC components are customers deploying in the public cloud first, and what is going to remain on the premise or the private cloud?
Well, Danny, that's a tough one. I think, if you stand back and look at what we're seeing organizations do, it might look like it's a bit random, but let's think about this a little bit. We see some organizations doing call control to the cloud. Some organizations are keeping call control on premises, and call control is increasingly being viewed as a commodity. And commodities mean that you should do whatever is the cheapest or easiest for you. And sometimes it's going to be a cloud solution, sometimes it's going to be premises based. Other things going toward the cloud are very specialized applications. A good example is contact center. An on-prem contact center can be very expensive with all the different modules and capabilities that they're offering now in contact centers. And some of the cloud providers offer all of this with a simple pay-as-you-go model. And so for an organization with a medium-sized contact center or a small contact center, that can be very effective combined with their premise-based solutions. Conferencing is a real funny category. I would say half the organizations I talk to are moving conferencing to the cloud in the name of saving money, and the other half are moving conferencing from the cloud to premises in the name of saving money. Now, what's actually staying on premises varies as well. A big category that derives with staying on premises is the data. It could be customer data, it could be sensitive data. Message stores such as email, voicemail, faxes are often on premises. Sensitive data, competitive data, customer data, research, etc. Sometimes that needs to be lock and key in a vault with a very secure server and encryption.
Dave, what are the best practices to manage integration in a hybrid cloud?
Best practices, well, again, we're fairly early in the hybrid chapter, and so the best practices are evolving. But one thing clear is that one of the best offers of the hybrid solution is the infinite capabilities of putting together the right solution. So my first advice would be not to accept a solution as presented. There's so many different options. Don't assume that only hybrid solutions are from a single vendor as well. A lot of the vendors that are premise-based solutions and cloud-based solutions are pushing hybrid solutions, which makes a lot of sense, but don't assume you have to go with one vendor. Mix and match, do best of breed solutions. And lastly, remember where you come from. Consider migration, consider what you've got, leverage what you have if you can, and extend it, and find complementary technologies to make it better.
And in closing, Dave, do you have any last-minute messages or points you'd like to get across?
I think hybrid is young, and so there's a lot of discussion and excitement around the cloud, but I really think that's going to shift to the hybrid in the very near future. I call it the next shoe to drop. The reason being is because the hybrid solutions are just now becoming a mainstream part of the conversation. They're just emerging as an option. A lot of the major vendors are talking about it now, and it makes so much sense. Now, one thing to remember is that we've always had interoperability as an issue within unified communications, but typically that interoperability conversation was limited between 2 to 5 vendors that a customer had on premises. Now we're looking at those same 2 to 5 vendors on premises with potentially hundreds of different cloud services. So interoperability is going to become much more of a conversation, and openness is going to become much more critical, and APIs and integrations, and that's something to look for in evaluating both cloud solutions and premises solutions.
Thanks, Dave. Thanks for taking 5 with AVST today. If you'd like to get more information about AVST's products, visit avst.com. To find out more about Dave Michels, visit his program, talkingpoints.com.